Okay, so when a child goes missing, and these are questions that I'm just going to ask you openly, you can say yes or no, and it's not to belittle anyone. It's just, I don't always know what commissioners know. State to state, it's different. The same with governors, the same with mayors. They all, city council, they all know different things. It depends on the relationship between the law enforcement, what I'm finding, and where the budget is. So when Tristan went missing, your 17-year-old, did you get notification about that? When did you know he went missing?
For me, it's later, a little bit later.
It was after the fact, but I don't really, we don't know the details of the case at all. And,
Okay.
And sheriff and prosecutor are, very restricted about what comments there are to be made.
But this is about Tristan in the beginning. So what I want to do, this is what I want to take you through these pieces, because these are a lot of private conversations that I've had with commissioners across the country, with mayors, right? With parents with children that are missing, including law enforcement, because law enforcement has been the one coming to me because their hands are tied because they're employees. Or even if the sheriff is elected, everyone else is an employee. So when Tristan went missing, which was in September, did both of you know about that? When do you recall knowing that Tristan went missing?
Sometime after that, that's all I can tell you.
Uh-huh. Would you think that was months after that? Did you ever see any flyers, anything about Tristan?
For me, it's probably several months.
Several months. Okay. So we know, just talking openly, that hours means something when a child goes missing. And runaways are actually the scariest one out of all of them because they're running away for a reason that I mentioned before. So as my investigation just about the household with Tristan and Taylor, there were problems in the house noted by a lot of your residents because they knew the kids and they knew that there were problems. A lot of homes have problems in them. Problems to the point that, can a child end up dead? It happens more than what we feel comfortable with. I mean, that's the reality. Because the grandmother was the caregiver. So when Taylor went missing, that was your 14-year-old. That happened in September. So you had September was Tristan, October was Taylor. Do you remember when the 14-year-old went missing? Does that seem to be clear to you at all? Okay. So again, this is not in any sort of belittling. This is where parents are coming from, just on an overall basis. So you're the commissioners in the county. And if you don't know that your own child is missing, you only have less than 7,000 people in your county. That's a problem. Because on an overall basis, when a child goes missing, it has to be flooded unless the case, there are only certain cases that when a child goes missing, that everything has to be kept hush-hush. And that's usually because they're involved in gangs, all right? Or it's been some sort of serious extortion or something like that. Other than that, when a child goes missing, it is absolutely vital that the area, the entire state, just like what happened when John Walsh's son went missing. Enough wasn't getting done, which is the reason why John Walsh did everything he could to get on the talk shows. Now, even though his son ended up murdered, he was beheaded and dismembered, at least he had an answer. He had a close to what happened. There are a lot of parents that are dealing with missing children that have no close whatsoever. And one of them is our own D.R. Koontz. There's a number of them. And Ron Winiger with the Boise Police Department, I have an email with him. I was communicating with him quite a bit when he was at the acting police chief. It took him 2 weeks to actually get the real solid information on what children were missing just in Boise City. Now, he told me personally, he said, there are 2 solid cases that are older cases that he knows that the parents were involved in the case, but there's no money or no physical resources to try to go after those parents and hold them accountable with all this evidence. I'm just giving you some solid examples in our own state, not in someone else's state. Now, the same with Deer Coons. I'm going to send you an outline. On every single case, I've not been able to call them, talk to law enforcement about every single one of them, because there is a big turnover. In that list that you saw in the Idaho State Police, half of them are turning over. The other side to it is, which I want to say, I'm not saying people are lying, but where are those children? Those are big question marks, because even if they are found, have we really been able to go after who their predators are? So for an example, let's just say the grandmother, I'm just going to refer her as the grandmother, did kill your 8-year-old. Obvious there were problems in the home. So Tristan and Taylor supposedly were checking in with family. Where the disconnect is what family was Tristan and Taylor checking in with? This is what your residents are asking, your business owners and your leaders. And many other people are going to ask that. Who were they checking in with? If you've already got the grandmother who is stated never called on a child in a plastic bag. Did she do it? Who did it? We can't know that right now. But what we can go back to is what happened with Tristan and what happened with Taylor. This is the same thing that happened with Joshua and Tylee. Once I found that they were missing, which was October of 2019, they went missing in September of 2019. Now, I wasn't in a position like I'm here where I'm only a half hour away and I can start talking to your people. What's going on out there? The people that I was talking to in town were business owners, or this business owner knew the grandparents and so on and so forth. I got able to get to the point that from the beginning, the people that were involved and knew the children felt that not enough was being done. And again, this is not an isolated state. This is not an isolated case in the United States because we don't know what the resources are. So what I'm going to say to you is, if it's the county level, how much money is being allocated to when Tristan went missing? These are the points of beginning that we just need to start with to try to solve these problems. Now, the reason why I was late is I was actually on the phone with Claudia Nally, who is the really directly assisting with Brad Little. I've known Claudia now for almost 30 years, a very long time. She knew me back when, do you remember when Susan Smith drowned her 2 children? I actually did a memorial for that because that case, and I have newspaper clippings over that, but when my children were when my son was 3 months old, there was something about that case that had me so disturbed. And that was the tipping point for me. So for whatever it was, that is what's kept me going with what I'm doing today. But what we're here to do is solve some problems. Let's just be the problem solvers. Now, what I told Claudia, which with me talking to your community out here, I know Brad personally because we stood side by side as I was running for governor. Knew him beforehand because I've known Butch Otter for a very long time. We know all the same people. I said on a human level, I said, Brad, you need to come down and listen to your own residents who are in Gem County about this particular case. Hear what they have to say, which is the reason why we have the date set for May the 11th with City Council meeting. And I would suggest for all of you to just, I don't mean to be blunt, but forget your titles right now. Just don't be the commissioners. What do the commissioners do? And what does City Council do? I would come together with a real heart. And I would just say, what are we going to do? How do we get this fixed? So not only does it not happen again in Emmett, because you don't know if it's not going to happen again. A child could have gone missing right now and you don't know that in your county because you didn't know for 2 months and you really didn't know. So how are you going to know this? And not only how are you going to know, but how is the community? So a good chance is as soon as a child goes missing, we need an alert. Are we going to look at the bureaucracy? Is it real or not? If we know that a parent called, now it could be the parent that murdered their own child and is making that phone call. So who made the phone call about Taryn that was missing? Was it the grandmother? Right? I'm not sure because the case is really closed. But whoever made that phone call, if it was the grandmother, there was not an alert that went off immediately. I can tell you that. The Amber Alert did not go off. It went off on no one's phone. So if an alert goes off immediately, what that could potentially do on this case is say to law enforcement, alert went off, people could say, we just know something, and immediately calling law enforcement. Because now you have everyone that knows that this happened. She could have just talked to someone or just acted weird, right? And someone saw that weird act going, I didn't know that Taryn was missing. I'm just giving you all the different possibilities that could have possibly happened. So I'm not the only one in the nation saying we need an alert when a child immediately goes missing, especially when the police say the child is missing. It's not just hearsay. As soon as the police officer can take that report, because now, quote unquote, the Idaho State Police website is saying there's no waiting time. There are a lot of people around the country that have even called on their kids that have been told, oh, you got to wait 24 hours. Or if they know that child has run away, well, let's wait another 24 or 48 hours. That's the worst time to wait when you've got a teenager because they're even in a more susceptible situation. You know, they could have their predator ready to say, I'm going to kill you if you say something that you shouldn't be saying. When older children in homes know what's going on, a lot of the deaths are happening because they don't want those children talking, telling the family secret. So those kids have held on. I'm not talking about ours, but this is a continual pattern. So where I want to bring this to a head right now is when I just talked to Claudia, I said, Claudia, first off, we need to have your residents feel open to asking particular questions. The one main one is, where is Tristan and where is Taylor? Now, if they're being held in an area because they're part of the case, they're part of the evidence. What I feel can happen, and it's been done around the country elsewhere, is that they can be in a blank place where it doesn't have any writing on the wall or no one knows where they're at. And both children can at least be seen on camera so that your own residents and the residents of the state that know about the case, many of them think that the kids are missing. We shouldn't have that kind of chaos going on. It should just be at ease going, oh, they're safe. What that's going to do, a picture speaks 1,000 words. And that's actually what I've actually said to Sheriff Wonder. The first thing that I said to Sheriff Wonder when we spoke, which was last week, is I said, Sheriff, your residents, forget city level and county level, just say in the county. They want to hear it from you. You said it on the news. You've got a huge park over here. Just put this whole town meeting together. Wouldn't take very much to do that. I'll help you. I don't care what it takes. I'll help you. You've got someone who's just donating her time 24/7. Not only do you, but I will continue doing it. But if we can just get all your town people, they show up for the child's wake, right? They have their candles. A lot of people didn't even want to show up because they don't have any answers. They don't want to just hear it on the news. Your community's too small for that. Your community wants to see all of you holding hands, be right there with the sheriff, Have the police chief right there, the mayor right there, you know. You just kind of look solemnly out to everybody and go, we lost our little girl. That's what happened. Any information that any of you have, I want to hear it. You know, Mark, make yourself open for that. I want to hear it.
Well, that's just it. We don't have much information because it is being kept very quiet.
Right, but from the general public, that's not quiet. That's where you all need to come together as just this human body. You know, think of yourself as Jesus and the apostles at this time and say to everybody, look, it's scary for them, or they feel that what they're going to say doesn't matter. The things that I've heard, I shouldn't be here listing it all for you. I've told all of them. Tell your commissioners. Their answers are, what are they going to do about it? No one's listened to us anyway. The government doesn't listen to us. I mean, these are just common attitudes that come out there, especially in the time that we're at. So I would just say that you all have an opportunity to say, look, the governor's going to be here. I told the governor that before I walked away from both of you, that I'm going to put the email together, because I've known Claudia for 30 years. She knows me personally. She knows I do this every single day. I've earned that respect. But whatever you would like to say to the governor, just go from your heart. Like, would it be helpful to have the governor here just sit right there with you and look out at your community and go, we lost our little girl. Let's make a difference right now. So here's the Idaho State Police, right? If you're residents of Gem County then heard from all of you going, like, I didn't know that the Idaho State Police website existed, but obviously they need help. Pictures are allowed to go on there. They don't have the manpower, they don't have the money. But now we have to go further than the website. Where is the listing of children? Where is the responsibility, or who is the body of responsibility to account for all the children that are missing in the state? So let's just start with Gem County. That responsibility, if it's on the county level, is to Sheriff Wonder. If it's on the city level, it is then to Police Chief Kunka. You're small. So the best thing to do is to be able to say to your general public, when your child goes missing, and I can give you all of the cheat notes because I know it, I do it every day. I even know it more than law enforcement. When your child goes missing, for Gem County, we're giving this to you from the commissioners and from the sheriff with our names on it. As soon as you know a child goes missing, call here, right? Obvious. Call here. Now, I want you to know as residents, if you make that phone call, unless you're able to tell law enforcement that you get the license plate number or a full description of the car or a full description of the person, that took the child, there will be no alert that goes off. They need to hear that from you because your residents need to know the protocol. So what I'm asking for us to collaborate together, because all three of us are residents in Idaho. I'm your sister. Look at it that way. Maybe you don't like me, but there's not a lot not to like. You need to have a strong personality like mine. A lot of people did not like John Walsh, trust me. So if we can start with one county and we go county by county, but as you commissioners, you have to wrap around exactly what is the current protocol and what change we can make to the protocol. So currently right now, when a child goes missing, very rarely is an Amber Alert going to go off. So then what should we do as a community where it's not too much later until you, Commissioner Bryan, know that your own child went missing and you're not in Los Angeles, you're in Gem County. So let's make that change. and I'm here to help you make that change. I'm here to work with Sheriff Wonder. I'm here to work with Police Chief Kunka. Doesn't mean that they have to, but I'm going to keep doing it. But it looks better that we collaborate with each other and at least extending. This is what people in elected positions want to do, is have the community step up and help. Doesn't mean we do it right, but at least I have the drive to do it every day because most people don't. I'm invaluable actually to you because I have the drive when I go to bed and wake up every morning. Now, what we are able to do is start, if a child goes missing on a county level, we can actually start our own missing child alert. You can do that on a county level. You don't have to do it on a state level. Start digging into your books. I mean, that's what I ask of you. Because if you can start digging into your books on this scenario, then how it can go is now what we've done is we've made a model in Gem County. Now I'm calling your local printers today, and I'm going to state to them, we need to put together the poster that I showed in front of you, and I emailed it. You saw the poster with the pictures that were missing in the Idaho State Police poster. Did you happen to see that? All right. So isn't our goal then, if the Idaho State Police needs help, we can bring not only a calling center right here, but we can bring enough volunteers right here to be able to say to Colonel Wills, because I'm asking Colonel Wills to be here also on May the 11th, but I'm asking for him to have a private conversation with us. Colonel, we want to hear from you. How does this go? Not only with a website. The website is not the point. The point is, how does the colonel get the information? Where does the information come from? If Police Chief Kunka didn't know about the website, Sheriff Wonder did not know that Tristan and Taylor and Taryn were still on that website. There's some sort of disconnect that's there. So let's bridge that gap and get rid of that disconnect. And the best way to get rid of that disconnect is to have us all sit at the same table. Because what I'm able to do, which is awesome, is I'm able to bring lots of volunteers. Doesn't mean you want them, but at least I can be that voice for you because I'm a citizen. Tax-paying citizen. I haven't paid that many taxes this year because, COVID. There's some humor there. Wish I could. So what I want to be able to do is take this conversation, I'll send it to you so you can see what we talked about, and I will then take from this conversation and I'll put it into some really solid bullet points. But let's get a letter of some sort to Claudia as soon as possible so that we can then get Butch, which is going to make your residents feel really great. People that don't like him, you know what? He's the governor. You voted for him and you got him. But I know Brad has a heart. Sat right next to him. Let's get him here. And let's get something in your across the street, whatever it takes. I'll help fill the paperwork out. Gather them all in. You, mayor, city council, Wonder, don't have to talk about anything. Just love your people. As I love you, Brian. I love you, Mark. His little Bill's thing fell off because he's not here. Okay, and Shelly, you're amazing. Thank you.
I'm actually Sarah. Shelley's
Oh, you're
upstairs.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, what do you think?
May the 11th, huh?
May the 11th is on the
Yeah.
books, right? But what I think we should do is, on top of having city council meeting, I think what we should do is take that day, since it's city council meeting anyway. You know what you want? You want all your people flooding out the door. That's what you want. Let them be mad, let them be happy, let them be whatever. But then get something across the street in the beautiful park that you have. Get just some little stand, doesn't have to cost much money. You got a microphone, Do it cheap style. Just bring everyone together. They just want to feel you.
Maybe 11. Week from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Governor said he'd be there.
Huh?
Governor said he'd be
Oh,
there.
we're going to write him the email right now. So I'm going to
Oh.
actually shut this off. Look,